The desert wind roared through the silent streets of the forgotten town. Rango stood frozen in the middle of the road. The silver pendant around his neck glowed faintly in the darkness. And slowly, very slowly, the white spirit moved closer, floating above the sand, this torn cloth drifting in the cold wind. Its glowing eyes locked directly onto Rango. The spirit stopped only a few steps away from him. The air became icy cold. Rango could feel something ancient in that presence, something filled with pain, an endless waiting. The ghost lifted its pale hand slowly, as if reaching for someone it had been searching for centuries. Then, in a broken whisper, the spirit spoke a single name, the name of the traveler who betrayed it long ago. But that name was not Rango. Rango suddenly felt a sharp pain in his head. Images flashed through his mind. Temple, promise, two figures standing beneath the stone pillars, one offering the silver pendant, the other smiling. Then the vision changed. The same temple, angry voices echoing through the ruins, terrible argument, and then a betrayal, one figure pushing the other backward into darkness. Rango gasped and fell to one knee. The memories were not his, yet they felt real. The spirit stepped closer, his glowing eyes filled with sorrow. To the ghost, Rango looked exactly like the traveler from long ago, the one who broke its heart. The next morning Rango returned to the ruined temple. He needed answers. The stone carvings on the walls told the rest of the story. Long ago, two travelers had come to this town together. They promised to stay. They promised to protect the temple. But one of them betrayed the other for treasure hidden beneath the ruins. Greed destroyed everything. The betrayal led to a terrible fall. And the spirit of the betrayed traveler had never left. The silver pendant had belonged to that lost soul, the only thing tying the spirit to the world. And now Rango had taken it, which meant the spirit believed its betrayer had returned. That night the town was completely empty, every door locked, every window sealed shut. The locals knew what would happen, because this had happened before. Anyone who took something from the temple never escaped the ghost. Rango walked through the silent street toward the desert hills, the pendant glowing faintly around his neck. He had made a decision. If the curse began in the temple, then that was where it would end. The broken temple stood silent under the moonlight. The wind moved slowly through the cracked pillars. Rango stepped inside the ruins. The moment he entered, the air became cold again. The sand on the floor began to swirl slightly, and then the spirit appeared, floating at the entrance of the temple, blocking the way out. The white cloth moved slowly around its body, its glowing eyes filled with ancient sorrow. This place was where it died, and this was where it wanted its revenge. The spirit suddenly rushed forward. The wind exploded through the temple. Sand flew through the air. Rango barely managed to stay on his feet. The ghost circled him like a storm, its whispers filling the ruins. Accusing, angry, heartbroken, the spirit truly believed the betrayal had happened again, that the one who broke its trust had returned. But Rango shouted into the wind, "I'm not the one you're looking for." The ghost froze. For a brief moment, the wind stopped. Slowly Rango removed the silver pendant from his neck. The spirit stared at it, his glowing eyes trembling. Rango walked toward the center of the temple, toward the exact spot shown in the ancient carvings. Then he placed the pendant gently onto the dusty stone floor. The wind howled violently again. The spirit moved closer, floating directly above the pendant. The glowing light around the necklace grew stronger. Memories filled the temple, the past returning to the present. The spirit finally realized something. Rango was not the same traveler. The one who betrayed it was long gone, lost to time. The white cloth around the ghost slowly stopped moving. The anger in its glowing eyes faded, replaced by something else. Peace. The spirit slowly lowered toward the pendant. For centuries it had been trapped between the world of the living and the dead, waiting, hoping, searching. But now the truth had finally returned. The ghost whispered one final word. Quiet thank you. Then its glowing form slowly dissolved into soft white light. The wind faded. The temple became silent again. The restless spirit had finally found peace. The next morning, the forgotten town felt different. The air was calm. The wind was gentle. For the first time in years, the people stepped outside their homes. They looked toward the desert hills, toward the temple, and they knew something had changed. The old turtle shopkeeper looked at Rango and smiled quietly. "The waiting is over," he said. Later that day, Rango walked back into the desert, the town slowly disappearing behind him. The silver pendant was gone, returned to the temple where it belonged. The ghost had finally found peace. But as Rango continued his journey through the endless dunes, he knew one thing: the desert was full of forgotten places, and some of them were still waiting to be discovered.